Sadhguru, thank you for sharing with us all your thoughts. I just want to ask you a very fundamental question. Some of us, and I'm from the Global Shapers community with the World Economic Forum, so we've been selected because we are interested in making an impact in the world and in the communities. So why is it that some people feel this way and other people don't feel this way? I've always struggled with trying to identify why is it that I have this kind of responsibility towards my country and my community, and some people just do not seem to have it. So does the upbringing, the schooling, the education have something to do with it, and how can we inculcate this feeling in everybody?
Definitely there are many influences, but the most fundamental thing that we need to understand is, as I was telling
Yelda.
It's a question of identity. What are you identified with? If you're identified just with yourself, then naturally your intelligence will function only for the well-being of this one. If you're identified with your family, your intelligence will function for the well-being of your family. If you're identified with the community, it works for that. If you're identified with the nation, it works for that. If you're identified with the entire life on this planet, it works for that. So this is the nature of human intellect. Whatever you're identified with, that's what it works for. One thing that's happened with modern education is, we are only focusing on the development of the intellect. The other dimensions of intelligence are completely neglected. When I say other dimensions, in the yogic way of looking at things, we look at human mind as 16 parts. They can be seen as 4 segments. This is called buddhi, ahankara, manas and chitta. Buddhi means the intellect. Right now, entire modern education is totally intellect-oriented. Would you like your intellect to be sharp or dull? Sharp. So essentially, intellect is a cutting instrument, it's like a knife. It's all right to use a knife to cut something. So right now you want to stitch something, if you use a knife, you leave it in tatters. This is what is happening to modern human being, because the only part of intelligence that they're employing is their intellect. They're trying to do everything with their knife. If you try to do everything with your knife, obviously you're going to cut yourself into pieces. As you get hurt, you will fix smaller and smaller boundaries for yourself. You step out into the world, if something hurts you, you put one boundary. Something else hurts you, you put one more boundary. If you get hurt within the family, you will make a much smaller boundary. So because you're employing only the intellect part of the intelligence, it's very important, the future generations at least, human intelligence has to be brought up in an equitable way so that the other dimensions of intelligence function. Only when they function will they be able to think of a larger identity. Otherwise, naturally, it's about me and me alone. So in this, you do very small things. You do very small things to yourself and ugly things to yourself, because one thing that a human being suffers most is being trapped. The trap need not necessarily be because somebody locked you up. The trap can be just in your own mind. And people immensely suffer that. This is the transition you're seeing. When you are 5 years of age, your face was like this, slowly it becomes like this. You think you have grown up. No. At 5, if you were so joyful, at 30 you should have become ecstatic, isn't it? But just the reverse is happening simply because intellect is the only dimension of intelligence you're using. You're trying to understand everything by cutting it open. If I want to know you, should I dissect you? But that's what you're doing in your mind, isn't it? Whatever you want to know, you dissect it with your intellect. You can know some aspects. I can know your liver, kidney, spleen by dissecting you, but I will not know you as a human being. So this is something we have to focus on in our education systems.